Welcome everybody to this quick masterclass on directed or positive and negative numbers. So directed just means positive or negative. I've got here that I have 0, which I've drawn in black. Numbers to the left are negative, numbers to the right are positive. You can think of it as adding one heat bead or a hot ice cube or adding a cold ice cube. So that's my visual to get you thinking about adding one and subtracting one degree, if you like. So here I've got it drawn vertically, so whichever you prefer. So for example, if I had 3 reds, I'll just draw 3 little red boxes, and I added 5 little red boxes, you would see that that's a total of 8 red boxes. Yeah, and that is positive 8. So plus 3, because that would be 3 hots, and I add 5 more hot, I would get a total of 8. So when these two are both positive, it works as a positive and it becomes the same as 3 plus 5 equals 8. Nothing too exciting there. You can do that with lots and lots of other numbers as well, and it always works the same. The thing is, what about if I had 7 reds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I had to take away 4 reds. So if I've got to take away 4 reds, so 7 red minus 4 red, right? I would actually lose 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would have 3 reds left. So when I've got plus 7 and I take away plus 4, it actually, to get 3 reds as an answer, can you see how would I get an answer of 3 from that? The only way that can happen is if this works as a negative. 7 take away 4 is 3. So now you've seen a positive and a positive next to each other, a negative and a positive next to each other. Let's have a look at some other examples. What happens if I've got 5 red and I add in 1 blue? What would happen then? Just remember that a red plus a blue equals a 0, because if I go up 1 degree and down 1 degree, I'm not going to change the difference in the temperature at all, am I? So this plus 1 and this negative 1 make a 0. So that leaves me with 4 reds. So you can imagine having 5 heat beads and adding a cold bead. It's the same as having 4 heat beads. So 5 red plus negative 1 equals 4. So how does that work? Let's write that as an equation. So I've got plus 5 plus minus 1. And that gives me an answer of 4. For this to happen, these two must work the same as a negative, so that I get 5 take away 1. Okay, so when I had those two next to each other, so when I had a plus and a minus next to each other, they work the same as a negative. When I had the minus and the plus working together, so they also worked as a minus. When I had the two pluses next to each other, they worked together as a plus. Let's do some more examples. What happens if I've got two reds, I've got two heat beads, and I add in 4 colds? What happens to the temperature then? So I put in 2 heat beads and then I add in 4 colds. What will happen to the temperature? Can you see that this one and this one are going to make a 0 and cancel each other out? This one and this one aren't going to change the temperature. So what I'm actually left with is -2. I've got 2 cold beads left. So when I say I've got +2 plus -4, how do I get an answer of -2? The only way I can do that is if this works as a negative. So if I'm here at +2 and I have to go down 4, so I'm going to add 4 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means I'm here at -2. So you can see those 4 jumps there. That's what's actually happening. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit more screen space. Still see that? Yep. Okie doke. Alrighty, let's do another example. So let's do 1 red plus 7 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you see that +1 plus -7, right? This +1 and this -1 effectively are a 0. So what am I left with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blues. So I'm left with -6. That means that this had to work together as a negative. +1 minus 7 is -6. If you've got $1 in your pocket, you want to buy something that's worth $7, so spend $7, you're going to have to borrow $6 from someone. Yeah? Okay. So that's that rule. So that's when we do that. What happens when I add 2 of the same colour? So let's go, if I've got 3 blue plus 2 more blues, so this is -3 and I'm going to add -2. Well, what have I got? 5 negatives. Okay, so how does that work? Well, this must work as a minus sign. So -3 take away 2 equals -5. Let's do another one. What about 3 blue plus 2 reds? So this is about -3 and I'm going to add +2. Where are the zeros? Can you see there's 1 and there's another one. So what am I left with? -1. So that means that this worked together as a plus. So -3 plus 2. So if I was over at -3 and I add 2, 1, 2, I would be getting closer to 0. So I would be -2, -1. Yeah, so that's what's happening. I'm getting hotter. Let's have a look at a couple more. So let's have a look at another example. And this time we'll look at 7 blue plus 4 red. So 7 blues plus 4 reds. So now what have I got? I've got that makes a 0, doesn't change the temperature. That doesn't change the temperature. That doesn't change the temperature. That doesn't change the temperature. And that one doesn't change the temperature. So what I'm left with is -7 plus +4 equals, what am I left with? -3. So this works the same as a positive, right? -7 plus 4 is -3. So if you owe someone $7, you give them $4 back, you only owe them $3. Yeah? What happens if I've got 4 blue, so I'm at -4, and I'm trying to take away 7 reds? Are there 7 reds there that I can actually take away? There's not. So the only way I can actually take away 7 reds is to add zeros, if you like. So now when I take away 7 reds and I lose all of these 7 reds, what am I actually left with? -11. And if you think about that on a number line, here you are at -4, here you are at +7. The difference or the distance between those two is -11. Just as if I said to you, what's the difference between 6 and 4? You would say to me, oh, to go from 6 to 4, that's actually a difference of 2. Yeah? That's where it comes from. So this is thinking of it in terms of difference. And this is the way I explain it with the cubes. Let's do one more. Let's do, I've got 1 blue, oops-a-daisies, 1 blue, and I want to take away 4 more blues. So this is -1, take away -4. Yeah? So there's no blues to take away. So what I'm going to do is add some zeros in. And I've done that deliberately because I've already got 1, so that when I want to take away 4 blues, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm left with 3 positives. So the answer to that is +3, which means that this works as a plus. So -1 plus 4 is 3. The difference between -4 and -1 is a distance of 3. I have to end the recording here. We'll